All right, so today we're diving deep. And get this, it's all about figuring out what's happening in India's job market.
Sounds interesting. How are we going to do that?
Well, we're dissecting, or I guess you could say analyzing, this earnings call transcript from Info Edge.
Info Edge, the Naukri.com people.
The very same. But they're not just about Naukri.com anymore.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, they've got their fingers in all sorts of pies now. Real estate, matrimony, even education.
Wow, that's quite the portfolio.
It is. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're using this one company's performance to get a big picture view of India's economy, like what's driving job searches, home buying, even finding a life partner.
I like it. So where do we start?
Let's start with the basics. Breaking down each of Info Edge's business segments, we'll look at how much money they're making, how fast they're growing, and whether they're actually turning a profit.
The nitty-gritty. I like it.
Exactly. So first up, the big one, recruitment, is their bread and butter, right? The transcript shows their billings for recruitment jumped 14% this quarter.
14%, that's pretty healthy.
It is. And that's not all. They hit a whopping 492 crore rupees. For those who don't speak finance, that's basically the total value of services they sold just in recruitment.
Okay, so recruitment is booming for them, but is it just the usual IT sector driving this growth?
That's what I thought too, but actually no.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like the growth is coming from all over.
Yeah.
Non-IT sectors like banking, healthcare, even manufacturing.
So the whole Indian economy is picking up.
Well, that's what InfoX seems to be saying in this transcript. They even point to something called the JobSpeak Index, which tracks hiring activity across different sectors. It's up 10% year on year. So yeah, things are looking up for the job market in India.
That's good news for anyone looking for a new job, or maybe even thinking about switching careers. Now, besides the main Naukri.com platform, didn't they have those specialized sites too?
You're right. They've got IM jobs for all the management grads out there, and Naukri Golf for overseas jobs.
And how are those doing?
Booming. Billings for IM jobs are up 40%. Naukri Golf is up 18%. It's like they're targeting specific talent pools and riding those waves of growth.
Very strategic.
Okay, moving on from the world of job hunting to, well, house hunting.
99acres.com, right? Their real estate platform.
Right, again. And it looks like they're doing pretty well there, too. Billings are up 16%, reaching 107 crore rupees.
So is it just that more people are buying and selling homes? Or is there something else going on?
Well, they're definitely seeing an increase in activity, but they're also getting smarter about pricing.
How so?
They've actually raised prices for some of their premium listings, and it seems to be paying off. They're making more money per listing now.
Maximizing those profits. Smart move. So what about matrimony? That's always been a curious one for me.
Same here. For years, their matrimony site, jivansathi.com, was basically a money pit.
Yeah, I remember that. But the transcript makes it sound like things are finally turning around.
They are. And get this, they switched to a freemium model. So basic services are free, but if you want the good stuff, you got to pay.
Interesting. So is free chat the secret to success in online matchmaking?
Well, it seems to be working for them. Billings for Jivansathi shot up 31% this quarter, hitting 26 crore rupees. They're actually close to breaking even now.
That's quite the turnaround. So they're attracting more users with the free stuff, and then hopefully some of them upgrade to the paid features.
You got it. Plus, they've kept their marketing costs down, which helps the bottom line. Less is more sometimes, right?
For sure. Okay, so we've covered recruitment, real estate, and matrimony. What's left?
Education. And this one is a bit of a mixed bag, actually.
Oh, in what way?
Well, their domestic education business is doing great. Billings are up 21%, but their study abroad segment, not so much.
I wonder why. Is it because fewer Indians are interested in studying overseas?
Actually, it's more about global trends affecting that niche. Things like tighter visa regulations, fewer job opportunities in popular destinations like Australia and Canada.
So even something as specific as studying abroad gets hit by these big global shifts.
It really shows how interconnected everything is.
It does. So we've looked at all of Info Edge's businesses. What's the overall picture? What are they saying about the future?
Well, one thing is clear. They're betting big on AI.
AI, huh? That's interesting. But what does that actually mean for their business and for us?
That's what we need to figure out.
They're not just talking about AI, they're already using it.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, they've already got AI automating things like resume creation. And remember that chatbot we mentioned on their education platform?
Yeah.
That's AI powered too. And from what they're hinting at in the transcript, it seems like they've got even bigger plans for AI down the line.
Sounds ambitious. But every big leap comes with some risk, right?
Okay.
Any dark clouds on the horizon for Info Edge?
There are always challenges. especially when a company is moving this fast and trying to innovate.
What kind of challenges?
Well, one of the big ones they highlighted in the transcript is the potential impact of AI on the job market itself.
The big question, will robots take our jobs?
Exactly. It's a real concern. While AI can definitely make things more efficient, it could also lead to job displacement.
So it's a double-edged sword. What else? Any other risks they mentioned?
They're also talking about expanding their freemium model to other platforms.
You mean like what they did with Jivan Sathi?
Uh-huh. And that's not without its risks either.
Like what?
Well, it's all about finding that sweet spot between giving away too much for free and not giving enough to make people want to try it out in the first place.
I see. So if they offer too much for free, they risk hurting their paid offerings. But if they don't offer enough, people won't be interested.
Exactly. It's a tightrope walk.
A delicate balance, for sure. So AI and this freemium expansion, those are two big things to watch out for. Anything else on the risk radar?
Well, they're also facing increased competition, especially in that hot real estate market.
So other players are muscling in on their turf.
You could say that. There are platforms like Housing.com that are giving them a run for their money.
So how is Info Edge responding to this competition?
They're really doubling down on user experience.
What do you mean?
Trying to create the most seamless and informative experience for users on their real estate platform. They're focusing on things like richer content, better search functionality, that sort of thing.
So they're trying to become the one-stop shop for all your property needs.
It seems that way. Okay, so we've covered a lot here. We talked about InfoEdge's different business segments, the overall industry outlook, and even touched upon some of the risks they're facing. That's a lot to process. Any key takeaways for our listeners? Something they can actually use?
That's a great question. And you know what? I think we should spend some time really digging into those takeaways.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. So thinking about what we just discussed, what stands out to you? What can our listeners learn from InfoEdge's journey?
Well, I think it reinforces something we hear a lot. The importance of adapting to change. I mean, look at how much InfoEdge has evolved.
Yeah, they started with just one simple job portal.
And now look at them. It's really impressive.
They haven't just grown, they've transformed. They saw how things were changing and didn't just react.
They were proactive.
Exactly. They anticipated the shifts in the market and adapted their strategy.
And they were willing to experiment, trying new things like that whole freemium model.
Which seems to be working out pretty well for them.
It is.
Right.
So I guess the takeaway for our listeners is don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Embrace change, experiment, and always be learning.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of learning, I think InfoEdge's use of AI is a great example of that.
Totally. They're not just dipping their toes in the AI pool, they're diving head first. Which is kind of a scary thought for some people, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about AI, the big fear is always about jobs being replaced by robots.
Right. But I think InfoEdge's approach shows that it's not necessarily about humans versus machines.
It's more about how we can use AI to enhance our capabilities, make things more efficient.
Exactly. It's like, instead of fearing AI, we should be figuring out how to work with it.
To make our lives easier, our work more productive.
And maybe even create entirely new opportunities we haven't even thought of yet.
That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
But of course, there are those risks we talked about too.
Like algorithmic bias and the potential for job displacement. Those are serious concerns.
They are. And they remind us that technology is a tool. It can be used for good or for bad.
It's our responsibility to make sure we're using it ethically and responsibly.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key message you want our listeners to walk away with?
I'd say it's this. The world is changing faster than ever before. And the only way to keep up is to be adaptable, be curious, and be brave enough to embrace the unknown.
Words to live by, for sure. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our exploration into InfoEdge's world. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
And if you want to delve even deeper, don't forget to check out the full earnings call transcript. We've got a link for you in the show notes.
And as always, we love hearing from you. So share your thoughts, your reactions, any questions you might have over on our social media channels. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.